I was so close. I was so close. Hi there. I'm Jeff. And today, I'm going to say a naughty word. I'm going to say a dirty word. And I normally don't do that because I'm a good pastor and I'm a good little Christian boy. But today, we need to talk about something really important, which means I'm going to have to say a word that you are not going to want to hear. This is a word that we're not allowed to say in polite company. It's a word that will make many of you very uncomfortable. But I have to say it because I care about you. And here we go. Pastor Jeff is about to say a dirty word. Change. That's the word. Change. Some people hate that word. It is definitely something that we're scared of. It's a topic we don't always like to talk about. And so what I want to do is today cover some of the big picture theology of change so that we can have correct expectations moving in through our lives and through church business. One of the things that a lot of people do is when they hear the word change, they immediately interpret it as, what do I stand to lose? And that if that's the case, then change means you're always going to lose something and therefore it's always bad. Whereas other people look at change and they say, what do I stand to win? What do I stand to gain? And to them, change is an exciting thing. It's an adventure. To God, who sees the end from the beginning, there's no such thing as change. It's just the future he knows and sovereignly supervises. And so as followers of God, we don't need to be afraid of change. We know he's ultimately in charge and he is in the redemption business. So even if the change is a mistake or does make things worse or does cause us to lose things, we know in the end it will all pay off for the good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And so there's a hope in that we don't need to panic when things change. We don't need to worry about what we stand to lose because we've given it all already in order to follow the one who has promised us a good end. And so with that, I think we should process change that way, whether it's cultural change, political change, or even the topic I want to talk about next, change within the church. Now, a lot of us have change fatigue. We went through a lot this year as a church, and I'm going to go back even to 2017 when we decided to start Sandstone. That was a major change for our church, and it had a ripple effect, had a domino effect on other things that changed because we tried that and because we did it. And if I had a time travel token and could go back, I would do it again. I think it was the right choice, and I think it was a success by any measure of success. And even if you go back to January when we're having a lot of conversations as a congregation, we didn't close it because it wasn't working. It was working. It was a success. It wasn't for lack of numbers. It wasn't for lack of money. The reason we decided to stop was because it was putting too much pressure on an organization that couldn't support it. There were a lot of things that needed to be fixed under the surface, behind the curtain. And the only way to fix that was to stop trying to manage two campuses. And that was a discussion we had for a whole month with a lot of you. And then everything was heading that direction. We had good change that was visionary. It wasn't just what is going to change, but it was why it needs to change. And we had a lot of good, I think, conversations about that. And then COVID hit, and we were all stuck in our homes, and there wasn't a lot of face-to-face, and there wasn't this weekly momentum. And now COVID has made a lot of things change. COVID has made us have to reevaluate everything, and a lot of people, like I talked about last week, are reevaluating if they're even coming back to Grace, or if they're just going to stay online, or if they're going to go to another church that's closer to home. All of those things are totally legitimate. But as far as it pertains to us, when we start up again, and now that we are starting up again, we need to know why we're doing it, and what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. And that means the change word. And so here's what we're going to do. The biggest thing that needs to change for the benefit of stability, and this is a visionary change, it's a proactive change, not a reactive change. There's both kinds, but this is on purpose, is a change to our bylaw structure. These are the things we've learned throughout Sandstone and things that we have learned from researching what other churches are doing. So there's a committee that's been meeting for about a month and a half, and we put together a first draft. That's all it is. It's a first draft that we're going to be presenting to the membership at the October business meeting this month. And we want everybody to pour over it together. We want to sharpen that document together and hone it together. So November, December, January, we're going to have discussion meetings, town hall meetings, where you can come and we can work on this together so that by the January business meeting, we have a draft that we're ready to vote on. Right now, this is just an introduction. We're not eliminating things. We are realigning things. But the boards that exist will still exist as ministry teams or boards, depending on where they fall into that, and you'll see it when you see it. But I just want you all to know we're not gutting anything. We're not stripping everything for parts. We are restructuring what exists so that it makes sense and so that we can be stronger coming out of this. And I think that's a good change, but we all need to be a part of it. And so, as a follow-up from last week's message, if you are a member, please take that seriously. I also want to encourage you, if you're a member and this is something you care about or you're worried about, don't panic. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you're here for the business meeting, you can get a copy in your hands. And if you're not, we can get you a copy. Let us know. Not all change is bad. Not all change is good. And if you have change fatigue because of the world we live in, so do I. I do actually like change, but I'm not interested in any more than we absolutely have to do right now because I'm as exhausted as anybody else. I hit my wall, like I said a couple weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to a good rhythm and a good routine, and I do think that's possible. I'm the kind of guy that is always looking forward and thinking there is good on the horizon, and I really think there is. And I think if we do things on purpose and we do things smartly and we do things together, this is going to be a great church, and we are going to come out of this no matter what happens in the world, because we are about the kingdom of God, which is bigger than any of the kingdoms of this world, which is what we're talking about on Sundays. And I want you to come back and join us this Sunday at 8:30 or 10 o'clock. For those are our worship services. We have a family venue at the 10 o'clock service if that interests you to be a part of. Otherwise, it'll be online on the YouTube page Wednesday nights. Again, 6:30 to 8, we have youth ministry. We have a Romans class that I'm teaching and a new members class that Pastor Matt's teaching. We have some small groups that are coming back to use space on Wednesday nights. You're welcome to do that as well. Just let us know. Until we can talk again next time, I'm Jeff, you are you, and God is in charge.